Hi, this is Alcan. Welcome back to my channel. We're waiting for a decision for the Supreme Court to decide what they're going to do with Trump when it comes to immunity. We got an article from The Hill. And by the way, for those who don't like the way I do this stuff, there's a thing called find another channel. Okay? If you don't like it, don't have to put your 2 cents in when it doesn't belong. Okay? If you don't like what I do, go find someone else. So I don't want to hear any more garbage from you. And by the way, those two people put the comments on that I didn't like. It's been removed. So go find somebody else to bug. So here we go. Supreme Court decision on Trump immunity. What to know by Rebecca Belish. I don't know how to pronounce names. If you don't like it, go find someone else. Thank you. The nation is bracing for high-stakes Supreme Court decision that could come as soon as this week on former President Trump's arguments that he's immune from prosecution as a former commander-in-chief. The case could be significant impact on how the former presidents may be held to account for any criminal actions they take while in office, and is among 14 cases the court still must decide this term. It is possible the decision could be delayed until early July. A decision this week could fall as the first presidential debate is scheduled for Thursday, and just weeks before the GOP convention in Milwaukee. Why is the Supreme Court waiting? I don't know, weights? Like in the gym? No, I'm just kidding. The case leads the High Court considering the extreme or extend presidential immunity that can shield a former president from conducting or from conduct during their time in office. Trump, during the April argument, asked the court to embrace a sweeping immunity argument, assessing that a president has absolute immunity for the official acts while in office, and this immunity applies after leaving office. He and his counsel argued that the protection covers his effect to prevent the transfer of power after the loss of the 2020 election. We begin to think there's a rat out there. Deep state. Special counsel Jack Smith had argued that only sitting president enjoying immunity from criminal prosecution and the broad scope Trump proposed would give a free pass for criminal conduct. Jack Smith, you're the one doing criminal conduct right now. You're not even appointed by the president or approved by the Senate. So you're the one who needs to be cuckoo. It seems unlikely the court would take the case to the logic extreme that ordering the assassination of a political rival could be covered by presidential immunity, something the Trump team assessed in court could likely be protected. But the judge is the one who came up with this, some appellate court judge. I think they should remove that whacknut off the court afterwards. Because please, common sense. Nobody's going to be interested in shooting an assassination. This is Darwell nonsense. It's clear the justice considered a far-reaching implication of a broad immunity push by Trump because during oral arguments, they posed hypotheticals about instances when a president can take a bribe to appoint as an ambassador or even sell nuclear secrets. I'm trying to understand what the decisions is from the turning the Oval Office into, the seat of a criminal activity in this country. Justice Kareem Brown Jackson said at one time, Trump team has argued that the only way a president could be protected for crimes if they were first tried and convicted through impeachment proceedings, which didn't happen. It is a reverse of the stance Trump attorney took when he was facing impeachment on January 6, arguing then that the matter should be left to the justice system. It is most likely the court may seek to tease out a more nuanced approach, one in which former president can be prosecuted for private conduct while enjoying immunity on action considered core to their responsibility in office. The question becomes, as we all been exploring here today a little bit, about how to segregate private from political official conduct that may or may not enjoy some immunity. Justice Neil Gorsuch, one of the 6 conservatives, said in April. So lower courts were dismissive of Trump's arguments, with the former president losing 2 challenges relating to the matter. Whether immunity a sitting president may enjoy, the United States only have one chief executive at a time, and that position does not confer to a lifelong get-out-of-jail-free pass. Former presidents enjoy no special conditions under federal criminal liability, says U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkin, who is overseeing the case, wrote in a December decision. That's why her case is delayed. Defendant's 4-year service as a commander-in-chief does not bestow on him the divine right of kings to evade the criminal accountability that governs his fellow citizens, she added in her decision. No one's trying to be king. This is conduct when he's in office, not outside of office, when he has no control over this anymore. The District of Columbia Circuit Court of Appeals similarly rejects Trump's challenges. For the purpose of criminal case, former President Trump has become Citizen Trump with all the defense of any other criminal defendants, court determined through a 3-judge panel. But any executive immunity that may have been protected him while he was serving as president no longer protects him against his prosecution. He was in office until January 2021. So to say that he's not protected after he lost the election is ridiculous. Suppose he had to start a military campaign without Congress approval. You're going to prosecute him for that? Especially if the U.S. came out okay in the process? I think that's a little bit ridiculous on their part. It seems unlikely the justice will sideline any prosecution Trump, like former president, has asked, but depending on how the court proceeds the bonds of official acts, the decision could eat up considerable more court time. It's possible the Supreme Court could carve out some immunity for former presidents while determining none of Trump's actions to stay in power could consider an official act, but the court also decides to remain the issues back to the lower court, providing guidance to Chutkin and ask her to consider where any Trump's behavior fit their test of what constitute presidential actions deserve immunity. If the court goes that route, Trump could appeal Chutkin's decision, would have the potential to put the issues before the Supreme Court again. I think the Supreme Court should just get it over with and say, oh yeah, he's covered. Screw you. That's it. We don't want to hear any more of you clowns. And the end of it. Trump has made similar arguments in the other trials he's facing. Siding with Trump, even a narrow ruling could force courts to spend more time weighing the issue that could benefit Trump, who has sought to delay his trials. If he wins the presidency, he can order the Justice Department to drop the federal cases against him. And if the court did agree with Trump's broad taking immunity, it could unwind his hush money conviction in Manhattan, which he's pleased to appeal, as well as ongoing prosecution for election interference in Georgia. His Mar-a-Lago case, however, prosecutor has argued presidential immunity has little bearing on the case. No, but the Jack Smith and the DOJ screwed up this case pretty badly. That photograph that they had with all this presidential stuff that they said he took, that was their screw up. Because none of these papers matched the stuff that they presented in court. Prosecutor there argued that Trump took the documents after leaving office, suggesting presidential immunity won't apply. But even beyond retaining the records, prosecutor noted that other matters in the case happened well after Trump was out of Oval Office, including concealing the records from his attorneys as well as law enforcement, something he was able to do by directing his co-defendants to move the boxes around his estate. One problem. There was one of these departments wanted this Trump information out of their hairs. They're the ones who sent it to Mar-a-Lago. They didn't check the boxes before they sent it. So they're just as guilty as anybody else here. And Jack Smith has a history of screwing stuff up. He screwed several cases, including Congressman Bob Melendez case. Now he's again on trial for corruption. that Jack Smith should have had this in the bag, but instead, when you open up the bag, there's a big hole in there. That's where Bob Melendez escaped from. So, we're mad that we still have Bob Melendez as our senator. So, you know why I'm royally pissed with this. Because they shouldn't have had Jack Smith there to begin with. You should have had somebody who was capable of doing the case with the best information you have to do the prosecution, but instead, he goes a long way. He wants everything on his sandwich, and when he tries to pick it up, everything falls out. This is the explanation of what happened with the Mar-a-Lago case. And he had so much stuff that was redacted. And the worst part was he waited too long, and there was a Democrat judge that was waiting in the wings to take this case. But he waited so long, that judge was called for another case. And Judge Cannon was the only one left. So whose fault is that? It's still Jack Smith's fault. So if he had done an arrangement with the courts in Florida, a Democrat would have been doing this case right now. And it would have been over already. So this is Jack Smith's fault. So yelling and screaming at Judge Cannon to get off the case, that's not going to happen. Because you guys already sent so many letters of complaints against her. They had enough of you folks out there. So stop sending the complaints, because it's not going to work anymore. Just like you send ridiculous complaints on my channel, it's not going to work no more either, because now you will be wiped off. So once again, Trump is waiting for a decision from the Supreme Court about immunity. He might get all of it, he might get some of it. But I think the idea to send it back to the courts for it to be brought back again, I think that's ridiculous. I think they should just rule once for all. Okay, he has immunity. Screw you. That's it. We don't want to deal with this anymore. And we'll kick it down the line in the next 10, 20 years when Joe Biden has to go on trial. So this is Al Ken saying so long for now, and don't forget your step.